Hello to you all, and welcome to Pyramid Energy, a journey through intuition, wisdom, and loving insight. My name is Khunze. If you've journeyed with me before, welcome back, and thank you all for being here with me. This is an intuitive offering to you, brought to you as generous guidance as you make your way through and out of a significant part of your life. Partly why you're here is to hear some truth as it resonates with you. You'll feel if it resonates with you on whether this stage of your life has actually arrived, whether this is actually a change. Because often when things around us begin to stop working, to collapse, or become disrupted, we can question whether this is a sign of change. And what I'm here to confirm for you is that this is a change. But also that contrary to how it's presented itself and how it may feel, it is a positive change. This is a place of healing. And as I share insights, these are offered to you as an opportunity to engage with how you feel and also with the mental perception of your feelings. Because the goal ultimately is to bring your heart and your mind into coherence so that you can feel like you're living in alignment. Hearing something that you have felt, voiced, or said outside of you can be very activating. I have healed this way through others who do similar work to what I do. And I've also healed this way through engaging with this community here on Pyramid Energy. It really is such a privilege to receive the insights that I receive here. And it is not lost on me that these insights are received through the collective of individuals that gather with me here on this channel. I like to say that awareness is a healer. And it is through your wish to enhance your awareness that this information arrives in my channel for me to share with you. And so this is a reciprocal experience, and one that I have personally learned and grown so much from. So thank you for joining us here. One of the things that I'm hearing is that you've been really questioning whether your life can truly change. Change in terms of the environment that you currently observe yourself in, the situations you find yourself in, your standing in life, as you perceive it, and how you feel in it, how you feel in your life, whether that can truly change for the better. And I'm here to confirm for you that it can. And so it's a yes. And especially if you're new to the channel, if you're hearing this, this is one of the manifestations that you have made possible. This information has found you because you have visioned the future, your own future, and questioned the gap between where you find yourself and the blurry place that you see yourself in the future. And so acknowledging that gap is, in a sense, a wish. And even stopping to listen to this reading is confirming your wish, and this is why this reading has found you. One of the things that I'm hearing is that when things begin to change, they can begin to change very quickly. And so when those moments hit you, it's very important for you to remember how change is created. And so similar to, let's say, how you manifested this particular reading, that's how other changes happen as well. And so not to mistake the disruption that can occur in your life as you having been forsaken. Another thing I'm hearing is that as you walk away from certain parts of your life or certain aspects of your life, whether these things have been in your life for a long time or a short time, is to always remember that there's more than one side to this walking away, to this ending. Because an ending always signifies a beginning of something, even if you cannot see what that thing is. Another thing I'm hearing is that in these moments where you're questioning why everything, is by honoring the presence of the divine in your life, the divine's hand in your life, especially where you feel things are beyond your control. It can easily feel like that, and often. And to acknowledge that not all of this weight sits on your shoulders can bring relief to your mental space and open your mind so that you can see how things are working out. 555 on the clock is telling me that this is a way of thinking that accelerates change. And as I connect with those words, I feel like I'm perceiving like an overwhelm at the thought of things changing rapidly. But what they're saying is that it's how you perceive the change and why the change is happening that you grow acceptance for the change, which is what accelerates the change. This is a time of your life where you will look back on this time. You're going to remember it as a time of great change, as the time you became open to more, as a time where you became open to the possibilities and stopped limiting those possibilities. Or I'd rather say, stopped imposing limitations on yourself. I have cards in front of me here. I'll show them on the screen. And at the center, I have you as the world, crossing you the Six of Swords. I also have the Chariot. In the spread, I have Death and Rebirth and Judgment. I'm going to go through these cards, but what I want to say is that it's very clear here that you are at a major ending in your life, signifying a new beginning. And that this stage of your life is in the process of closing. There's something that I wrote in my journal that I want to share with you. I wrote, "You are in the stage where you're resisting death. Control will fall away. And to know that there is no true judgment outside of you. That's all a material manifestation of the path you've been on." And these words are expanding in a number of ways for me as I speak these words. One of them is that this is more a matter of self-forgiveness, rather than it is about what anyone else thinks about your reaction and your response to change. And to hear the words that this is all a material manifestation of the path you've been on, what these words say to me is that it's due to how you've usually responded in the past that there's a perceived expectation on how you should respond now. And I'm seeing that the evidence of your transformation sends a message to whoever is observing you that they can also transform, that they don't have to be held back by preconceived ideas about how things are supposed to work, how things are supposed to carry on. And I'm hearing how other people's expectations are meant to come before yours. I see this in the area of what's crossing you, Six of Swords, which is a leaving life how you've known it and moving somewhere else, somewhere better. And so there's this struggle there's a struggle of acceptance. And I also saw 919, which tells me that you're looking at yourself in your current state and your current circumstances, your current environment, and you're looking ahead at a future environment. This is something I mentioned earlier. And you're worried that bringing change, being receptive to change, you're considering that it could cause more grief, more harm than good and betterment. And they're saying that this is because you've been conditioned to believe that things continue to carry on and continue to work through how you've controlled them. And that this is a fallacy. It is not true. Because when things are disrupted, it's often control itself that makes things even worse than they already appear. Whereas accepting that a transformation is underway allows you to let go, allows you to accept, and allows you to welcome the divine change that's taking place, to not resist and to not fight the process, and to allow the transformation to take place more rapidly and without the perceived struggle. I can feel that I'm speaking to someone who has a very pragmatic way of thinking. I can feel it because of how the words are coming through, and also in the way that I'm explaining them, and also in the way that I'm explaining certain concepts, because you have an awareness of a lot of many things that are said about how life works, as we embrace change. And whether these are buzzwords or whatever it is, however you perceive them, as you hear them, you can tend to discard them, not as truths, but as things that are just said. And this is because there is an absence of awareness within yourself around how these words become true in our lives, how they are true. And they're saying that rather than discarding these words that you come upon, nuggets of wisdom, is to sit with them and with your pragmatic mind, unpack them, interrogate them, the way a philosopher would. Be open to what you find. Because once you've approached your seeking of the truth in this manner, it becomes your truth. And it being your truth means that you can apply this truth across your mindset, across your way of thinking, and across your way of making decisions that leaves you in a position where you still feel safe even in the face of change. I looked up the word pragmatic just to unpack exactly what I was saying there. And it says dealing with things sensibly and realistically in a way that is based on practical rather than theoretical considerations. And so we're brought here because you're a person who makes decisions sensibly and based on how things work and how things are going to continue to work practically. But we are here to bridge this gap because change, inviting change, feels impractical. Especially when you're dealing with something that's just been disrupted in your life. This could be a disruption, they're saying an organic disruption. And so in this context, I'm interpreting the word organic as without your personal intervention. And so these are just natural changes that take place. And so I'll apply this also to where you might want to invite your own change. Or again, allow a change to happen without your intervention. Another thing I'm picking up on is guilt. And as I mentioned, this idea of allowing things to change without your intervention is that in your subconscious here, I have the 8 of Cups. And if you look at the card, she's walking away and she's leaving a bowl with something burning in it. This bowl here represents something that you used to love. But knowing that there's better for you out there and accepting that you just don't have the same love for that substance, thing, people, person, structure, way of doing life that you used to have before. And you'll note as well on this card, it is the 8 of Cups, but you can't see the 7 Cups. She can't see where she's walking into, but she sees light. So she's following this brightness, she's following a light, even though she doesn't understand the light and know what it's about. She knows that it's better for her. I have 15:15 on the clock. And the number 15 for me represents the devil as it appears in the tarot. And with these numbers together, it brings up this question of, then why would I walk away? Why would I walk away from something that used to work? Why would I not stay and repair this thing that no longer works, enhance it, fix it, change it, work with it? And they're saying that these kinds of questions are born of doubt. That's what the devil represents. Well, one of the things. And so when these questions come up, it is worth asking yourself why the change keeps calling you, why the change is difficult to forget, and also to consider for yourself the trajectory of your path if you stay where you are. And also to look back at the times and opportunities that you've had to alter the situation where you are, to change it, to work with it. Whether it is a realistic way of thinking to continue thinking this way. Those words in particular were tough for me, but they came out that way, and I believe they were meant to come out that way and land that way. At the top of mind, I have you in the Knight of Pentacles. If you see, he's moving gradually in a direction, and he's leaving a whole lot of these pentacles representing value in his trail behind him. And to clarify, I got the 6 of Wands in reverse. And so one of the questions that's right at the front of your mind is, how does it make sense to walk away from what I've built, all of this hard work? And before I continue with the advice that is presented here, which is death and rebirth, I want to say that please, in no way should you take my words as any kind of advice or instruction to walk away from anything. Because what we look for as we make changes is a deep sense of peace and a clarity that allows us to move forward and make decisions and take action without doubt. I always like to say, when you don't know what to do, do nothing. Because if you become the instigator of changes, before you are certain, before you have a sense of peace and a true knowing that you're moving in the right direction, that doubt is going to follow you. And that doubt is going to affect all events as you move forward. And I also want to share that my words, this channel, my readings that I offer, are offered for the purposes of hope, inspiration, and peace. I am not a medical professional, and I'm not a healthcare professional practitioner in any way. In your recent past, I have you in the Ace of Pentacles, which here feels like this offering that's been made to you, this opportunity that you have to improve on your life. It feels, especially with the way the roots are falling from the pentacle, it feels like this experience with, it's an imagining of how you could change and what this change could bring into your life. And so it's almost like a divine invitation. But when I asked for clarity, I got the Page of Cups, and instead of putting it down, it just fell out of my hands onto the Death card. And this says to me, there's this sense that you might be considering this opportunity, okay, because it's not real until you make it real or until you allow it to become real, but that this opportunity could be a pipe dream. And they're saying that this is really based in the fact that you haven't been offered the instructions and, the design of what it's going to look like and what it is you're headed towards. And with the death and rebirth card in your advice, they're reiterating that a lot of these questions that you have are a sign of doubt, and they're saying that this doubt is part of the process of death. One of the things that we go through when we go through a death, signifying that there's an ending happening in our lives, is a struggle with accepting that this is an ending because of its implications, often because of its implications, and also because of our need again to control the workings of how everything unfolds. And I'll go back to my writing here where I wrote, you are in the stage where you are resisting death. Controls will fall away. And so in this time, it will be worthwhile allowing yourself to consider the possibilities, to consider the opportunities that lie ahead of you, to balance your thought and how you're processing these events. Because even though this marks an ending, it marks a rebirth, it marks a birth, a new beginning. These are interesting cards. In your near future, I have the Chariot and the Tower. I say interesting because as I was shuffling in the beginning, I saw the Chariot and I considered if the Chariot, the number 7, were to be expanded into one of the other cards in the Major Arcana, what is it? And I looked through the deck and I found the Tower. So if you take the Tower being number 16, when you collapse the number 16, it gives you a 7. And so these cards together are telling me that going forward, in your experience as you move forward, you're going to start seeing the results of this shift in perspective. You're going to be perceiving your world and all the changes happening around you, some of them very rapidly, differently. And in your outcome, I have Judgment and the Empress. And these cards together are telling me that you're also going to become aware of the opportunities as they approach you and as they land in your space. These are opportunities that normally, let's call it before now, you wouldn't have been able to even see the opportunity in them. But you're going to now have a different perception of how things reach you and your ability to manifest through your shifted perspective. To close, I'm going to read a message from this Rumi Oracle deck. I chose it because it was speaking to me throughout the reading. And also as I was connecting with this new energy in the room. On the cover of the deck, it actually says, an invitation into the heart of the divine, which is something that I mentioned in the reading. And a lot of us here on the channel are familiar with this idea, this concept of living in the heart of the divine. But I could sense that this is an invitation to more than one type of person, to someone who is not yet used to living in the heart of the divine and allowing the hand of the divine to do what it does best in one's life. That said, This reading resonated very much for me personally. And I feel like it will resonate with anyone moving deeper into this unknown space with the divine. As you adjust or enhance or just shift the structures in your life, or whatever it is that you're handling that's shifting and changing and sending you into an unknown space. But you'll have been able to tell from this reading that this is very much an Eight of Cups energy. This is very much, there is a grief around the walking away, but also a true knowing that you're moving to a place that you're going to love. And so this is to bring you back to the space of peace, of being able to trust the process and know that everything you need will reach you, including understanding in divine timing. The card that I pulled is number 41, Victory of Mariam. And I'm going to read just a paragraph from this. You feel you are immortal, and I know you are divine. You feel you are not ready for the task, and I know that triumph is only moments away. You reach to me for protection, but you are me, and the protection that you seek is already with you. We are not apart. I am living through all that you are and all that you love, all that you have lost and all that you have to offer me in surrender. I am in you as your courage and magnificence, and any task I send to you is simply one of the tasks for which you were born. You are an eagle with wings, ready to soar, so I push you from the cliff top, that you may know yourself. And I just want to add to that this is the nature of expansion. We ask for it, we yearn for it, and when these changes begin to take place, we can begin to feel afraid and unsure of ourselves. And I believe that even though I live in a great level of unknown, I live in it because I get to do what I love. And what I love to do is to be reminded how divine I am as I remind you how divine you are. 27:27 on the clock. This is almost a perfect image of the divine mirror that becomes available as we connect. Should you wish to support my channel and can, I have left information in the description box below on how. Sending you so much love.